Ramdeo Agarwal, Joint Managing Director at Motilal Oswal Financial Services, is with us. Ramdeo, good morning. Great to have you with us here. We always look forward to having you on, Ramdeo. Enjoy speaking to you. I hope our viewers share that sentiment. I just want to start by asking you, business is looking good, Ramdeo, isn't it? As markets pick up, broking companies who have, have scaled up and who didn't sort of cut back too much on resources, etc., have the capacity to ramp up, take advantage of this boom. And your first quarter results show that you're actually doing that.
Yeah. So, first quarter result is a good reflection of how things have turned in last 2 months. And this is actually 2 months result. And hence we'll get a proper result in this quarter. September quarter will be a full working quarter after Mr. Modi's Prime Ministership. And it's not only broking, but asset management, wealth management, iBanking, all those businesses, they are finding traction, though it takes little time for them to show up in the results. Broking is instant. So I think as the markets pick up and the reforms take hold, the momentum builds in the economy, because economy is just about there's a lot of apprehension whether we can go back to 7-8% kind of growth. So it will take time, and as future unfolds and momentum picks up in the economy, I think participation of the Indian investors, which have withdrawn from the market completely, classic mean reversion is going to happen when from a complete absence of investors, we'll find that all over it will be Indian investors. So that period might be 2-3 years away, but I can see that happening.
Which segment is doing the best for you?
I think actually the retail has come back very strongly, and the cash segment within retail has been particularly very, very buoyant. So that's a very, in terms of revenue, we do about 60% in cash segment and only 35-40% in F&O. So we have very large share in delivery, and because of our research backup, the delivery share is very high, and that segment has picked up very well, because now people are able to buy, sell their old stocks where they were stuck, and now they can get into the new stocks. So that entire investor activity, where they make 20-30% and they move on, those kind of activities have started. So we are seeing the retail has come back, and are getting newer accounts are coming, and among the old registrations, I think the activity levels have picked up almost. It is double the number of people who are participating in the market activity.
Over the last many years, a lot of accounts would have become dormant, right, Ramdeo? Would you say 80-90% of those accounts have become active again?
It had become very bad. We had about 70,000 investors, 700,000 registered accounts, and I think it had come down to about 10-12% kind of an active level. And at the peak, it goes to as high as 70-80%. So you can imagine what kind of thing I'm talking about.
No, but now what is the situation? What percentage is it?
Now it must be about 17-18%.
Oh, from 12, it's gone up to about 17-18.
Yeah.
Oh, so, and you said at the peak it goes as high as 70-80.
Yeah.
Okay. There is a lot of room to go up, right, in that sense?
Yeah. It's just not, it is not even a startup. I think in next 3 years, the whole issue is that the excitement which this new government has brought, they must live up to the expectation, in the sense that cyclically, in any case, 4 years or 5 years of correction had happened, something had to happen. Some turnaround would have happened, but it would have been much more weaker. Under this government, most likely the turnaround will not only happen for sure, but will be far more aggressive. It all depends on how good is the execution and how good is the pickup. So if the economy goes to, again, it peaks out at about 9-10%, 11% kind of thing in next 4-5 years, I think we'll see number of accounts doubling. From 700,000, we might have 1.5 million. And participation, which is 10-12%, 15% now, will go to as high as maybe 70-80% again. So we are talking about complete scale change as far as the brokerage outlook is concerned.
Ramdeo, with your permission, if I can just cut across to the ING Vaisya press conference for 30-40 seconds. Just quickly hear on what's happening there. I'll come right back to you, Ramdev. Let's cut across.
Actually, the picture is not bad, especially once you take into account that this reflects largely a one-time cleanup. We are reasonably positive going forward. We see there's both an uptick in terms of demand for credit, as also in terms of what is migrating in terms of the asset quality. We see that there is now not much fresh movement into what we call our watch list. So whereas there are some movements which are the usual movements which will happen to NPA, we are quite positive going forward. So we do believe that we will be able to show reasonably good results for the coming quarters. Thank you very much.
I think Q&A will be starting. And I think you'd hear from the management a little later, one-on-one in a bit. That's the ING. ING numbers disappointed. Ramdev Agarwal is with us, and we've been talking to him about how business is looking. A lot of room to scale up. He thinks that things haven't even actually started in right earnest now, and this is just the beginning. Let's just talk about deal making, Ramdev. At what pace is that happening?
So, deal estate is warming up again. The pipeline was always strong for us, for all the competition and everybody. The deal closure was very tough. Almost it was impossible to close deals. So now hopefully the deal closure should become many more. And we see worldwide the deals are at peak. And there's no reason why India will not participate in this entire deal festival. So as we go forward into the valuation, because the moment valuations become a little stretched, little better, then the seller doesn't have any hesitation in selling. And buyer also finds a reason for paying that particular price because the secondary market is trading like that. So meeting of minds happen and the assets do trade. So I expect that if it is extended kind of economic recovery of 4-5 years, then maybe after a year or so, I think deal street will be very, very hot. And I think we'll see new highs in terms of the size of the deals and number of deals in the days ahead.
Good morning, Ramdev Agarwal. This is Anindyo from the Delhi studio. I was tracking what you said right after the budget came out, and you were saying that you didn't. There was nothing big bang about the budget, but you think that execution is the crucial thing for the Modi government, and if the execution is done, especially building roads and stuff like that, you expect around a 6.5% growth this year. Post-budget, whatever you've been getting from the whatever's been coming out of the government, has that been pleasing you?
Yeah, I think it looks that unlike earlier time, it looks that responsibility is well spread out and every minister is trying to see that his ministry does something good for the masses. And but one is talking about it, second is actually doing it. Say roads and even in power sector or many things where actual execution is a physical execution, like there are clearances happening. But is, say, PASCO is getting cleared or some other steel mill is getting cleared or roads are getting cleared, are they actually getting into execution? And whenever the problem comes to the execution, is there somebody to really clear it up? So that will, you can pronounce that execution is become the priority and, people are putting their head down and getting on to solving the problem so that execution becomes absolutely hassle-free. That's the that point is still not, I think if you see today's ET also, I think Swaminathan has again asked for the three things, execution, execution, execution. So I think the importance of execution is not to be undermined, and you have to wait some time for it to show up in the actual on the actual ground in terms of getting converted into order book, cements being lifted more, the demand for the labor increasing, so construction companies getting more contracts. It will take some time.
One of the things that the corporates had complained about when the UPA was in place was, of course, policy paralysis, and there was no one to listen to them. So if they went, they really didn't have anyone who would listen to their problems. We are now hearing that there is, at least in South Block, almost a blockade. Most corporates are not getting any access to ministries. it has virtually become a situation where bureaucrats are running things based on, as you're saying, that things are being probably put into action, but what corporates want to say is no longer being heard. Have you picked that up at all, or are you picking up a completely contrary feel?
No, no, no. What you're saying, I have not heard. And see, still just 7-8 weeks into the new government, I think Mr. Jaitley has not visited Mumbai properly in terms of meeting the people here. I mean, this is a commercial capital, financial capital of the country. So I think there must be, I mean, I think the cabinet itself is not fully expanded. Defense minister is still empty. So we got to give some time before we pronounce this kind of thing. And they're also listening to whatever is the, obstacles. So I don't know anything about this corporates complaining about it, but it might be a little early to comment like this.
So you're broadly satisfied in the way in which the government is moving at the moment. Would that be fair to say that?
Yeah, so far, so far I think responding to, like in telecom ministry yesterday or day before, so you can see things happening. I mean, whether you like what has happened or not, say like we asked for reduction in the dividend distribution tax. The economic survey said yes, it must be scrapped and it should be abolished and those kind of things. And when budget speech came, we thought that dividend distribution tax is gone. And later on, when you saw the details, actually dividend distribution tax has been increased by 3.5%. So I think there is some listening problem, or what minister is saying, what bureaucrats are doing. I don't know. I mean, there doesn't seem to be some kind of sync is missing. So those things are there, but at least there is no lack of activity. I think you can see a lot of action around. Maybe it is not coordinated well, but it takes a little time. So you got to wait for some more time.
Something like Mr. Jaitley said that this government is not going to do anything in retrospective. There'll be no retrospective tax. But if you look at the tax on debt MFs, that's virtually a retrospective tax.
Yeah, it is mother of all the retrospectivity. So, I am the confusion between 1st April 14, 1st April 15, assessment year, financial year, and still they have not sorted out finally. So, and the implications are huge in terms of revenues. Good thing is that it is on the HNIs and corporates. So,
but
I think they can take the knock.
Its implications are huge for treasury operations, of legitimate treasury operations of corporates as well. It's not just the revenues of the government.
Fundamentally, you cannot change the investor who comes in, whether he's a small guy, big guy, local, global. I think fundamentally, person who is investing for 1 year, he must know what is his tax status. He is investing for 3 years, he must know the tax status. I mean, you cannot change the tax status after the time has passed or that person has committed for that particular period. I mean, this is absolutely not done. I mean, somebody has sold his 12 months or 13 months FMP in April, and he is liable to pay tax. Probably he has spent the money. So, and the amount could be significant. So, I think that is a basic problem of retrospective amendments. And that Mr. Jaitley understands beyond doubt. I mean, he is very clear on that. So I think they will find before the final Finance Act comes, I think all these changes will be made, I'm sure. So let's see in what form the budget actually gets passed. That is more important than what was proposed. So retrospectivity is there or not, we have to see only in the Finance Act being passed.
Well, let me just move a little bit to subsidies. I know that you're not someone who's a hawk on subsidies and you think that subsidies should be removed overnight. But this government seems to have increased subsidies. The outlay for fertilizer has gone up by about 4,000 crore compared to the interim budget. The outlay for Manrega has actually gone up by 1,400 crores compared to the interim budget. And Mr. Jaitley has also announced some new subsidies for the Delhi budget, for instance. So, keeping in mind certain elections, certain things are being done. We're also now hearing, we'll have more details on this later on in our show, we're also now hearing that the oil ministry is saying, and this is source-based information we picked up, that LPG subsidy is not going to be reduced at all. And in fact, the number of LPG connections are going to be expanded. I just want your quick take on what the government is currently doing with subsidies, because it doesn't seem to be reducing them in any way.
Yeah. So I think subsidy clearly must be better targeted. I think the real execution challenge is how do you do better targeting of subsidies. I mean, subsidies for poor is not a bad thing, but giving the same subsidy to you and me is not. I mean, that's what a country cannot afford. So how do you target it better? And that's a completely execution challenge. Whether it is Aadhaar or some I don't know what all you'll do to see that only below poverty line guys they get the subsidy and not the
Ramdev?
unintended guys getting the subsidy.
Ramdev, you do not have any quarrel with the amount of the outlay. You think that even if the outlay is just about that much, it should be executed better. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, targeting has to be better, and I don't understand those 2% or 3% of GDP, but you cannot be harsh on the poor, and if it while doing so, if it goes to some unintended guy, you have to improve your execution, not the subsidy.
Ramdev, Prashant back here. You know, you were on our air the day after the budget, and you in a way accepted that this was not the budget that you were looking for, although you had said, well, this is a start and there are many more budgets. The next budget, 2015, will be the real test. Given the background or what we are seeing and what you've been discussing so far, what's your view on the market itself, Ramdev? Market remains very good, very bullish?
Yeah, so, very bullish. So, see, you don't have to look at market on a 1 month, 2 month basis. I mean, you have to bother about what could happen in next 4-5 years. I still think that this government has the right kind of mandate. They have the right mindset. They are talking the right things. Are they doing right things, and are they doing enough right things as quick as possible? So we know the number of hours being put, and I'm sure running this country and the shape in which it was, and the new dispensation which has come in, these are, I mean, very, very different. The power center is is listening to what is the need of the people. He's connecting with the needs of the people, and how much will be executed. Actually, you have to give at least a year to figure out whether roads have been built, whether power has been streamlined, whether regulations have been streamlined, whether at the end of it, doing business in India, has it become easier or it has become more messier, you know, in the name of doing right, actually they end up doing wrong. So I think you have to give a year to figure out whether they have walked in the right direction or not.
Okay. What is your sense? I just want to get to stocks and sectors, Ramdev. You know, Thermax reported numbers yesterday, popular name, well-owned. BHEL Q1 order inflow number is in. BHEL, though, I think has made a habit of disappointing, so that's not a big deal. But Thermax, do you think these are red flags for the industrials, capital goods space, Ramdev?
No, I mean, I think they were not expected to improve so quickly in any case, in the sense that power sector mess is too deep to start flowing into the order books in just 2 or 3 weeks, because the losses are massive. In a 2.5 lakh, 3 lakh crore industry, if you have 70,000-80,000 crores losses every year, and this loss starts hurting somebody or other, sometimes equipment guy, sometimes fuel guy, sometimes equipment supplier, sometimes the consumers themselves, sometimes government. So I think the real trouble is the unaccountability of the losses, and there is no accountability in terms of who should pay that gap, whether government should pay or people should pay or any other supplier should pay. And in the first round, they destroyed the entire PSU banking by getting loan from there. Now I don't know who is going to pay for it. So I think the entire power sector companies like BHEL as well as which one you said? Hello.
Yeah,
Shan?
go on, Ramdev. We can hear you.
Yeah, so I think these companies will take time to recover. I don't think power sector thing is going to get sorted out very quickly.
Okay, I understand that you have to leave for a meeting, Ramdev, so we're going to cut this conversation short. Thanks very much for coming on today.